All right, so basically I'm just going to start out with placing an admission power plan, which we have embedded the VTE Advisor into all of the admission power plans. So that's how we are going to fire the VTE Advisor most frequently, is from those power plans, or also a post-op power plan as well. So I'll just go ahead and add, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose the Admit to Med-Surg power plan. And if my sign-ins were an actual provider, I wouldn't receive this, but since I kind of just have a regular sign-in, I just have to type in a cosign. Now you'll see all of the orders within the Admit to Med-Surg power plan. And then included in this is going to be, under clinical orderables, the VTE Advisor order here. And we have that pre-checked but not required. So if for some reason you wanted to unselect that, that is possible to do, but it's always pre-checked in there to fire once this plan is initiated. So if there are any details that I still need to complete in here, I can do that as well. So admitting diagnosis, pneumonia in there, and then that's everything, and I'm going to go ahead and initiate the power plan. So as soon as I initiate it, the VTE Advisor pops up. If I double click up here at the top, it will expand for you to be able to see everything better. And then all of the power plans we have defaulted to a specific patient type. So for this power plan, it's defaulting to medical. If that was not the patient type that you wanted, you could also go in here and select any patient type that you would like. And the first section here is going to be the Evaluate Patient Risk section. We also have the Current State section here as well. If the patient had any allergies, that would display here. Any relevant results or labs, that would display in this box there. And if the patient was already on some form of prophylaxis, that would show up in this current regimen section there. As you can see up here at the top, we have kind of the patient information here, the name, MRN, SPIN, and if you select the arrow here, it will drop down to even more information for insurance, address, contact information there as well. And then this part up here where it says low risk, this is going to be your risk level. So this will, based on any risk factors that you choose within the advisor, this will change to either moderate risk or high risk or stay at low risk. So I'm going to go down here to the risk factors section. As I can see, for the medical patient type, we are on the Padua risk scoring system. So if I hover over the Padua risk score wording here, that will pop up and show me what risk factors will lead to how many points. So it'll show me the risk factors that are 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, and any other information about Padua risk scoring in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a couple risk factors here. And as you can see, whenever I chose those two, it now says Padua score of 4 or greater, and my little yellow icon up here at the top now says high risk. So I'm going to keep going down, and I'm going to go ahead and click Select Recommendations, and that will automatically shoot me down here to be able to select a pharmacologic therapy. But before I choose one of those, I'm just going to go back up here and show you the rest of the sections that are available. So we have a pharmacologic contraindications and a mechanical contraindication section. So if there was a contraindication found in the chart, that would automatically pull into here, and instead of saying no contraindications found, it would tell you what the contraindication was. If you know there's a contraindication and it wasn't already in the chart to pull in, you can select this drop down here, and we have all of these options to select for a contraindication. And if the one that you need is not available in here, you can free text it in this other box as well. All right, and then you've got the same thing for mechanical contraindications as well. The next section here is going to be renal function. So if the patient had a creatinine clearance on them, then that would show up here in this section. It would also show up in the current state section at the top as well. But let's say they had a creatinine clearance of 60, then the advisor would automatically default this to default check greater than or equal to 30 milliliters per minute. Or if it was greater than or equal to 10 but less than 30, then it would default select this, or less than 10 it would select that, or if they were on dialysis. So it's going to pull whatever that is in the chart into here to default select the correct option if there is a creatinine clearance. And we'll go down a little further here. The next section says receipt of unfractionated heparin. This is going to always default to unknown unless there is unfractionated heparin in the chart within the last 100 days. So if there is, it will default to yes, but it's never going to default to no, just because we don't want to automatically assume that just because it's not on the chart. So if it doesn't find it, it will just default to unknown. But then the question here is, has the patient received unfractionated heparin within the last 100 days? All right. And then the next section is current regimen. So just like up at the top, if the patient was already on some form of prophylaxis, those orders would pull in here, and the provider would have the opportunity to check the box next to it to discontinue that order if they wanted to discontinue that and order something different. But since this patient isn't on anything, nothing will display in here. So now we'll go down to the recommended pharmacologic therapy. As you can see, there's this little red box here. That means that I need to select something to satisfy this section of the advisor. So as soon as I select this, it's going to turn green. If I choose this enoxaparin 40 milligrams here, it'll turn green, and that will satisfy that section of the advisor. If I had selected a contraindication, so if I go up here to pharmacologic contraindications and I select active bleeding, I'll come down here and I can see that this is now orange, and it says contraindicated over here. If I hover over it, it will tell me what that contraindication is. And now it's opened up the mechanical therapy section for me to choose a mechanical therapy instead. So I will go ahead and just choose the SCDs here, and now that will turn green. And now everything is complete within the advisor. If I wanted to choose some activity orders, I could do that here. And then general lab orders, since I'm not ordering a pharmacologic therapy, it's not displaying any general lab orders for me, but if I had selected that, it would give me a few general lab orders for me to choose from as well. All right, and then if for some reason I didn't agree with any of the options within the advisor, I also have this drop down here that I could select for an override reason. Since I've already selected something, it's not going to allow me to select that, but if I wanted to clear out this section here of my selections for mechanical therapy, I could do this drop down. So there's a few options: disagree with pharmacologic recommendations, disagree with mechanical recommendations, or both, or we've got some options to defer prophylaxis at this time, patient family refusal, defer orders to another physician, or prophylaxis previously addressed are the options in there for that. But I'm going to go ahead and keep my SPD orders here and go ahead and document an order. Okay. So now that I have clicked document and order, I'm taken back to my power plan here. And as you can see under the VTE Advisor, it now includes my order that I selected from the advisor for the SCDs. So now that I have everything included, I'm going ahead and go and click Orders for Signature and Sign. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and refresh that, and it will show me all those orders there. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, and I'm not sure, I'm going to go into Results Review to show you the flow sheet. And so now I went into there. If I wanted to go back and see what all had been selected from within the advisor, we have the VTE Advisor patient type as medical. The PDUA risk factors that were selected were active cancer and reduced mobility. The PDUA risk score was a 6. The risk category was high risk. They had a pharmacologic contraindication of active bleeding, no mechanical contraindications, and creatinine clearance that was greater or equal to 30. It's unknown if they have received unfractionated heparin within the last 100 days. And the advisor recommendation was mechanical. And then the risk signs and symptoms, the problem, it was addressed by ordering my prophylaxis from within the advisor. So now also, since this patient was high risk, if I go down to, let's see, my problems and diagnosis section here, well, it looks like right here where it says at risk for venous thromboembolism here, anytime that a patient is documented as high risk, it's going to add this as a problem to the problems and diagnosis section automatically. And now if I go back up into power orders here, and I look under my suggested plans, you'll see this IPOC for VTE management prophylaxis was automatically suggested here as well. And this is an IPOC that you already currently have and are utilizing, but this will make it easier. The nurse won't have to go in and automatically order this. It will automatically be suggested to them for nursing and pharmacy to be able to initiate and work through. Okay. A couple other things I wanted to show you. So let's say a patient was admitted to the hospital and it's been over 8 hours since they have been there and they have not had the VTE Advisor completed, or they have not had any prophylaxis ordered for them. Then when a provider goes to order place any orders at all. As soon as they go to place that order, a alert is going to fire, and it will look like this. It'll say VTE Prophylaxis Advisor not completed, and it'll say your patient and with their name has not had the VTE Prophylaxis Advisor completed. Please order the VTE Advisor to complete the advisor. So it'll say down here, add order for, and it'll automatically have this checked. All the provider has to do is click OK, and that will launch the advisor from that alert. Okay, and then the other alert that we also have, which it will look very similar to that, and I will go ahead and demonstrate that for you in here. If I place a transfer order, transfer to another unit, and again, the provider would not have to select a ordering physician. But if I go down here to pull that up there, to level of service, where I'll choose a reason for transfer as medical necessity, and then level of service. Anytime a patient is transferred to critical care, and it's going to ask the provider to basically reassess the risk for VTE prophylaxis. So as soon as I clicked sign, I got this alert here that says VTE prophylaxis advisor not completed. Your patient has been transferred. Please reassess risk and validate modify VTE prophylaxis. And then again, this is already pre-checked, and as soon as I click OK, the VTE advisor will pop up, and it's going to show me that my patient is already on SCDs, and if I wanted to, I need to reassess the risk here to where they are now and complete the advisor again. And again, that's only when a patient is transferred to critical care. It's not going to fire if they're transferred anywhere else.